Most people spend more time inside their browser than they do inside almost any other app on their computer. Think about it. Work, school, YouTube, Netflix, shopping, social media, banking. At this point, your browser is basically your operating system, and yet most people picked theirs years ago and never thought about it again. Which is strange because choosing the wrong browser can hurt your productivity, destroy your battery life, eat your RAM, and in some cases, turn your privacy into a public art project. So today, we're ranking the biggest browsers on the internet from absolute trash to genuinely excellent. And yes, some of these placements are going to make people very angry, especially when we get to Chrome. Let's begin. Quickly before we start, D tier means I would not recommend it. C tier means niche or outdated. B tier means good but flawed. A tier means excellent. And S tier means it's one of the best choices for almost everybody. Now let's start at the bottom, because that's where the pain lives. First up, Opera GX. At first glance, Opera GX sounds like a brilliant idea. A browser designed specifically for gamers. You get RGB themes, gaming news, Discord integration, CPU limiters, RAM limiters, and enough customization to make your desktop look like a spaceship. The problem is that most people don't actually need any of that. Opera GX feels like a gaming chair. It looks fast, it sounds fast, it screams fast, but it doesn't necessarily make you faster. This browser has a bit of an identity crisis. It's trying to be a browser, a gaming launcher, a social hub, and an entertainment platform all at once. And because of that, it never really excels at any single thing. If your setup glows neon purple at night, you'll probably love it. But for most people, there are simply better options. Opera GX goes into D tier. Now let's move up slightly. And yes, this is where things get interesting. Let's talk about Opera. A lot of people forget that Opera was actually one of the most innovative browsers on the market. Built-in VPN, built-in ad blocker, built-in messaging apps. Years ago, that was genuinely impressive. The problem is that everyone else eventually caught up. Today, Opera is still perfectly usable. It's not slow. It's not broken. It's not bad. But it's also not giving you a compelling reason to choose it over stronger competitors. Opera feels like that restaurant everyone used to recommend 10 years ago. The food is still good. People just stopped talking about it. Opera lands in C tier. Next, we have Tor browser. And this one is complicated, because Tor is simultaneously one of the best browsers ever made and one of the worst browsers for everyday use. If privacy is your number one concern, Tor is incredible. It routes your traffic through multiple servers around the world. Tracking becomes dramatically harder. Your anonymity increases significantly. For journalists, activists, and people living under censorship, this browser can be genuinely life-changing. But there is one problem. It's slow, really slow. Using Tor for everyday browsing feels like driving a tank to the grocery store. Will it get there? Absolutely. Will it be enjoyable? Probably not. For privacy enthusiasts, Tor is fantastic. For average users, it's simply too specialized. Tor browser goes into C tier. Now let's enter B tier, starting with Vivaldi. Vivaldi is fascinating because it feels less like a browser and more like a hobby. The people who use Vivaldi absolutely love Vivaldi. And after opening the settings menu, you'll understand why. You can customize almost everything: tab layouts, themes, panels, shortcuts, menus, workspaces. Probably your future retirement plan. It's honestly ridiculous. Vivaldi is the browser equivalent of building your own spaceship. The issue is that most people don't want to build a spaceship. They just want to open YouTube. Its greatest strength is also its biggest weakness: too many options. For power users, it's amazing. For everyone else, it can feel overwhelming. Vivaldi earns a solid B tier. Next is Arc browser. And Arc might be the most interesting browser on this entire list, because instead of improving the traditional browser experience, Arc tries to reinvent it completely. Everything feels modern. Everything feels different. Workspaces are excellent. Organization is excellent. The interface feels like somebody looked at browsers and asked why they're still designed like it's 2008. Some people switch to Arc and never go back. Others uninstall it after 2 days. There is almost no middle ground. That's both its biggest strength and biggest weakness. Arc is innovative, but innovation alone doesn't automatically make it the best. Arc lands in B tier. Now we reach A tier. And this is where the arguments start. Let's begin with Safari. Safari is the definition of doing one thing exceptionally well. If you own a MacBook, Safari is fantastic. Battery life is excellent. Performance is excellent. Optimization is excellent. Apple designed the browser and the hardware together, and it shows. Safari often feels smoother than browsers with far more features. The downside is obvious. The second you leave the Apple ecosystem, Safari becomes dramatically less relevant. It's like owning a Ferrari that only works on certain roads. Amazing roads. But still, for Mac users, Safari is an easy A tier. Now let's talk about Microsoft Edge. And I know some people are already laughing, but hear me out. Modern Edge is genuinely good. In fact, it's surprisingly good. Microsoft basically took Chrome, improved the efficiency, improved memory usage, added useful features, and somehow turned it into a browser worth recommending. Edge is like the student who copied Chrome's homework and somehow got a higher grade. It's not exciting. It's not cool, but it works extremely well. And because of that, Edge comfortably earns A tier. Now let's talk about the giant, Google Chrome, the king of browsers. The default browser for most of the internet, and to be fair, Chrome became number one for a reason. It's fast, reliable, compatible with practically everything. Its extension ecosystem is unmatched. Every website works. Every company supports it. Chrome is the Toyota Corolla of browsers. Not exciting, but dependable. The problem is that Chrome became a victim of its own success. The RAM usage is legendary. Privacy concerns continue to grow. And while Chrome remains excellent, it no longer feels miles ahead of the competition. I know some people expected S tier, but the truth is the competition caught up. Chrome goes into A tier. Now, before we reveal S tier, let's take a quick look at what's left. Only two browsers remain. And honestly, this is where the comment section is about to explode. Because both of these browsers have incredibly loyal fan bases, and both have very strong arguments for being number one. Let's start with Firefox. Firefox feels like the browser equivalent of an independent coffee shop surviving right next to Starbucks. Everyone assumes it's struggling. Then they try it, and suddenly they understand why people love it. Firefox is fast, private, customizable, open source. And perhaps most importantly, it's one of the few major browsers that isn't built on Chromium. That matters more than most people realize. Competition is healthy. Browser diversity is healthy. And Firefox plays an important role in keeping the web from becoming a one-company ecosystem. Is it perfect? No. Some websites still optimize for Chrome first, but Firefox delivers one of the best balances between privacy, performance, and usability available today. Firefox earns S tier. And finally, Brave. The browser that somehow managed to make privacy easy, and that's exactly why it's here. Most privacy-focused tools require effort. Brave doesn't. You install it, and immediately you get ad blocking, tracker blocking, better privacy, faster browsing, and you barely have to change any settings. That's the secret. Most people don't want to spend 3 hours configuring a browser. They want privacy to work automatically. Brave delivers that experience better than almost anyone. Yes, some of the crypto features are controversial. Not everyone likes them, but they're easy to ignore. For the average person who wants a better browser tomorrow, Brave is one of the easiest recommendations on the internet. Brave earns S tier. So our final ranking looks like this. S tier, Brave and Firefox. A tier, Chrome, Edge, and Safari. B tier, Arc and Vivaldi. C tier, Opera and Tor. And D tier, Opera GX. Now, I know some people completely disagree with this list, and honestly, that's part of the fun. So let me know, what browser are you using right now? And which placement do you think is completely wrong? I'll be reading the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.